Assalamu alaikum. My name is Brother Ijaz Ahmad of callingchristians.com, and today we're going to be discussing mufassil Islam. Now, a lot of people might not know this, but sometime in 2011, I was actually friends with mufassil Islam. And at that time, something strange happened, and that strange thing has happened again. So in my possession are a couple emails. You'll be seeing a screenshot of this on your screen right now, where I have something like 884 emails from him during my interactions with him on Facebook. He used to tag me in comments, tag me in posts. He created a few debate groups on Facebook when that stuff was popular 5 years ago. And so I was active then. I didn't know him that well, but we were active together, you know. And 5 years ago, he had an incident, and I don't know how to explain it, but he went from making videos and making posts, and you'll be seeing screenshots of these posts as I go along. He would make posts, he would make videos defending Islam, responding to atheists, agnostics, and Christians. And he did this quite often for a very long period of time. But sometime in 2011, something strange happened. He came out as an atheist. Now that might sound weird. It literally happened overnight. Now, I didn't know him that well, maybe a couple of Facebook interactions, but because we were in the same groups together, I was somewhat familiar with him. So he claimed to be an ex-Muslim at this point, and it was really strange, the post that he was making. It was literally a change of mind overnight. And he persisted in this behavior for quite a while, maybe like a month or so. And eventually he came back into the fold of Islam. And this is after, like, we responded to a few of his videos, responded to a few of his posts. So he became Muslim again. And so I called him to, to answer, well, what happened? Explain to us what happened. Why did you leave? Why did you return? What's going on now? Now, at that time, he said, he changed his story a bit. At that time, he first said that it was a joke. He was just making a joke, and it was just to have fun. And I told him, apostasy is not a joke. Rejecting God is not a joke. If you're serious about your Islam, rejecting it is something that a serious practicing Muslim would not do. And then he came out with another excuse, and you'll be seeing that screenshot now. He said he had a mental breakdown, that he was suffering from mental illnesses. And that struck me as weird. I mean, it's something I can believe given his very erratic behavior. And so I pushed him. I'm like, what mental illness? What's going on with you? And he said his wife was trying to leave him, and so that caused all of the weird things that he was doing. I don't know. At that point in time, I kind of lost interest in what he had to say, because here is someone who you spent maybe a couple of months with interacting online, not directly, but peripherally. But if you're in the same group, you're still going to be familiar with each other to some extent. Overnight, he changes who he is, becomes an outspoken critic of Islam, making videos, creating groups, creating posts against Islam, and then he returns all to say it's a joke. And then it's not a joke. He has another excuse. It's because his wife was leaving him and he had mental issues. So this is my experience with him. So a couple of years later, in 2015, I saw that he had a couple thousand followers on his Facebook page. I think it's somewhere in the field of 50 to 60,000. So he became really popular in that time, since I forgot about him. And then someone posted a video where he said that he became an atheist again. And see, that's the thing. He's done this before, and he's doing it again. At that time, I think he was living in New York, and he had to leave the US. And now I think he's living in Ireland. And I've seen people posting that he actually has to leave Ireland. He's been kicked out, so he's doing this to keep his visa or something of that nature. So he might be claiming that's not true, but there is precedence for this claim, because the same thing happened when he was in New York. So given the current situation, my experience with this mufassil Islam is that perhaps he is mentally ill, given his own witness, and you have an email to see that, or it is perhaps he wants to remain in Ireland, just as he wanted to remain in New York and could not. The same incident is playing itself out again.
What we're not doing here is we're not attacking him. We're just trying to give a context for his behavior so people are alert to this, and the sycophants around him who are using him for their particular agenda, which is Islamophobia and the neo-atheist movement. These individuals, they need to recognize that they're manipulating somebody who potentially could have some serious issues, either asylum issues or mental issues. Recently, he made a video where he was trying to convince his mother. Now, keep this in mind, he's 50, right? 49 or 50. His mother must be probably around 70. He's trying to convince her to leave Islam so she dies as somebody who has no religion at all. Now, that's marked as somebody who has mental problems or family problems, and he's trying to get back at family members. So he's got a vendetta against family members maybe as well. So you've got to recognize this. And in pretty much all his videos, he adds ex-Muslim speaks into the title. So this is how he self-identifies. He identifies himself as something that he's not, something that he used to be. Now, who does that? Does somebody call themselves an ex-CEO or ex-atheist speaks, ex-Hindu speaks? Nobody does that, right? So there's some issues there as well. Mustafa, what do you know about this individual? What's your experience following him?
Well, me being a Bengali in London, after such Mufassir becoming a murtad, an apostate, it kind of went round everywhere. Everyone was finding out, oh, this guy, have you seen him on YouTube? Have you done this? Have you done that? So when I went to East London Mosque, I know a few members there, the IFE members, Islamic Forum Europe senior members, and I was speaking to them, and they said, we know this guy pretty well. He was a Jamaati follower for Bangladeshi movement, for Islamic movement. He used to preach Islam. He used to defend Islam. He had a lot of political background, not as a senior political member, but he was one of the political, like a seeker. He would go back home and speak to MPs and speak to certain like chair people around Bangladesh. When he was in UK or in the kingdom itself, he would invite them. But what I found out is when I was speaking to the senior members, and also I was speaking to another brother a couple of days ago, he couldn't win a lot of votes from those political leaders and members, and that kind of really triggered him off, and it just didn't work in his favor. And he started to just move away. Also, on top of that, again, as Brother Ijaz said, there was an issue with his asylum also. Knowing that he's got to leave, he's going to have to play some silly games. And what kind of games can he play? He can start acting like he's an atheist and then showing to the Home Office that, look, if I go back home, I'm going to get a lot of trouble. And those kind of sickness most probably came in until to a point that he knows that he can't head back again. And I actually know a person who personally knew him. He would come and he would see him, etc., etc. He said he wasn't like that. What kind of sickness got into him? Allahu Alam. But all I know is that this guy, he's definitely seeking attention. I don't think he's sincere even in idea of him being an apostate. I don't even accept that. I mean, when you're an apostate, you have that sincerity of becoming who you are. He doesn't even seem sincere in that point. He's come to a point that because he knows the Bangladeshi organization has probably left him and he's on his own, he just wants to take it out on all Bengalis. That's it. His vendetta is against Bangladeshis. I don't think he's got a vendetta against Muslims, but he knows that because Bangladesh is around 97% Muslim, he's just going to take it out on all of them. So that's what I see him as, one of them attention seeking. Because think of it like this. He's not only attacking Islam, he's kind of attacking everyone. He's even attacking Christianity, everything, because he wants this kind of a shelter, you know, around him. So he make people believe that he's genuinely an atheist. Even atheists were doubting him. I was reading some papers quite a while ago when some of my brothers were sending me, and this was months ago. So I literally don't have those papers, but I've been asking them if they can retrieve it. That even atheists were doubting him. Some of the atheists were like, "Listen, we don't even believe that you are an atheist." You know what I mean? It seems like you're doing it for some sort of asylum reason. And so I personally don't see him as a threat, because as far as I know, all the Bengalis that I'm aware of who from East London, from the East London Masjid side, or from my workplace, or from around me, because I'm from East London, so you can understand there's a majority of Muslims here near Whitechapel, etc. So we kind of have a lot of Bangladeshis here, and the Bangladeshis that I'm communicating with, they don't give him attention. They say, look, just ignore him. He's a nobody. So he's not a threat to anyone. It's just the kind of thing that he's portraying is really demeaning. It's really psychologically, it's affecting a lot of people. But generally, he's not a threat, because people know, a lot of brothers here and sisters, I believe, also, they're not really bothered of what he's doing. Like, oh, he's just he's an apostate. Have you heard, like when I was at work, I said to my colleague, have you heard about Mufassil's new video? Yeah, I heard it. Well, ignore him. He's a senior member of East London Mosque. So I think what we're doing is now we want to establish and find out what his real motives are, because it seems like he's under a major confusion, and he doesn't want to expose his confusion. I know his wife's left him, like brother I just said. His wife has left him. That's for sure. Because one of the brothers that I spoke to, he said no, his wife's left him. So his wife's definitely left him, and now he's come to a point that, okay, think of it like this: when a young boy, he's in love with a girl. I'm just giving an analogy, and then his girlfriend just leaves him. What does he do? He ends up doing stupid stuff. He really doesn't care what he's doing. This man, his wife has left him. He's going to be completely on a loose mode now. He doesn't care what he's doing. He's just going to go all out. So I think that this guy, we need to obviously establish what his agenda is. If he is doing it for the sake of spite, are you doing it just because you're spiting that you never had any sort of attention, or are you genuinely doing it because you just don't like Muslims? Because if you don't like Muslims, then seriously, you need to start giving us some explanation of how we can help you, in that way. But I don't think he's doing it, and he's only using old, like I said to brother Yahya, he's using all these anti-Muslim busted old arguments, which completely doesn't make any sense. Like brother Yahya said, and yesterday, subhanallah, brother Yahya said, look, his arguments are so like weak. In other words, I'm paraphrasing, like, it's just old, we can refute them. We just want to establish what was the cause for him becoming a murtad. And I say to you that it was purely because, and this is what as far as I can tell you, is purely because of these political grounds, that he had no power when he was in Bangladesh, when he was in UK. Politicians never gave him any attention. They were just promoting Islam, and he just thought, you know what, it's not happening my way. So he just thought, the only way I can get attention is throw it back on them. That's how it is for me. That's all I can say for now, brothers. Brother Yahya.
Okay, well, that's really interesting, and we appreciate your insight on that. I just want to ask you, initially when he was when he was in New York, was he a political asylum seeker there? Because I don't understand his background.
I could probably answer that. He is a lawyer. At that point in time, he did claim to be a lawyer. And he claimed at that time as well, he was well known within the Bangladeshi political establishment. And he, in one of the emails, I think that should be a screenshot, he mentioned that he works with human rights in Bangladesh, basically. So that's what he used to do. So he was, I think, a political asylum person, perhaps, but I do know that he did have to leave New York. For one reason or the other, he had to leave the United States. And again, if what Mustafa is saying is correct, then at that time, his wife was leaving him. It caused him to leave Islam. His wife could have left him again this time, and that could have also been the trigger. So at least 5 to 6 years now, he has had that recurring problem of not being taken seriously by the Bangladeshi political establishments. He has not been taken seriously by fellow lawyers, by fellow human rights lawyers. and he has not been taken seriously by a lot of Muslims for some reason. So whatever he's been trying, it's failed. He's tried it again. So one thing that Mustafa did note correctly was that he is doing this for a specific reason. And I believe the excuse he's trying to use is, look, guys, I can't go back to Bangladesh because they're killing all of these secular bloggers, these atheist bloggers. They're chopping them to death. I'm so well known. I have 60,000 likes on Facebook. So many people know me now as an ex-Muslim. All my videos have that title. It's impossible for me to go back home and be safe. You know, you have to consider me as a victim, as a person that needs political asylum. Because if I go back home, they're going to kill me. Yeah. So I think that's the angle he's trying to work with. Right. But it's very thinly veiled. That's my perspective. It's like, because he's done.
Sorry, Ija. So it's like, I don't know if you recently read the stories about Iranians coming to Germany and pretending to convert to Christianity. They also do it in Liverpool as well. So they pretend to convert to Christianity, and then they say, look, we've converted to Christianity. If we go back to Iran, they're going to kill us because we've left the religion. And because they go into Christianity, there's proof that they're with a different religion other than Islam. So that's why they don't become atheists. They go to Christianity because then they've got the church behind them, giving them that proof to show that they are of a different religion other than Islam.
Yeah, it's trying to give them some form of credibility. But here's the thing. He already has very little to no credibility amongst the Bangladeshi or the Bengali Muslims. Very little, as Brother Mustafa pointed out. And now he has even more less so, not only among the Muslims, but the non-Muslims. Because I've been seeing posts by atheists thinking that he's doing this for the very reason of political asylum. So hear what, guys, my perspective is this. It's that he's done this one before and it didn't work. So now he's doing it again. He has a larger crowd to do it too. So he thinks it will work at this point in time. You have to remember, he thinks that he knows the law. He fights for human rights. So he's probably thinking, well, I'm experienced in this field. I can prove that I can't go back home because I'm no longer a Muslim. So because it failed before and because so very few people knew about it then, I think he supposed that he could get away with it this time. But that doesn't seem to be the case. People are seeing directly through it. That's my perspective.
Right. So maybe this explains why he's got this catalog of videos now. He's almost making one video every 5 hours against Islam or well, apparently somebody sent me that message and said that, oh, he makes a video every 5 hours, so he's clearly not working. So and he's just trying to build up this catalog of proof for his asylum case, I guess. And
yeah, but what good is that asylum case going to do? Because we understand that if we look into on a national scale, and brother Yahya will agree with me, is that whether you have this problem with Bangladeshi asylum or a Polish asylum problem, the country will take in account to say, look, if you're becoming a problem to the Muslims of the country, then we need to start dealing with you. Because what he's doing is his videos are not going to help him. Because when they use it against him, they're going to say, well, your videos are only attacking Islam. So what good are you going to do by staying in this country? Do you know what I mean? He's not making any benefit out of his video. Had he been just an apostate who just wants to stay clean? He say, look, I don't want to accept your religion. Allah says in the Quran, whoever wants to believe, let them believe. Whoever wants to disbelieve, let them disbelieve. I just don't want to be like you guys. I want to disbelieve. I want to move away. Fine, you can do it. This is your right as a British citizen or as a citizen of the country. You have the right. Everyone has the right. Islamically, you have the right, for crying out loud. What are you doing this for? What are you gonna gain doing that? This is what I'm trying to say. You're hiding like a weasel. You don't want to come out and confront actual Muslims. I may not be a Muslim scholar or an imam or so and so, but at least you can come confront me and say, you know what, Mustafa, let me sit down with you. You know what, brother Ajaz, let me sit down with you. Brother Yahya, let me sit down with you. You don't want to do that. You just want to hide behind your laptop, make a few videos, and you just want to attack Islam. I don't think that is sensible or reasonable or rational in any way.
He didn't reveal this Quran for you to be miserable. I mean, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said that to His Prophet. We did not reveal this Quran for you to be miserable. The mukhalafa, the understanding, the reverse understanding is anzalnahu li tas'ad. We revealed this book to make you happy. So if Islam is not making you happy, something's wrong with your Islam. And if you're making other people unhappy, you know, woe unto you for driving people out of Islam. You know, and there are people that are driving people away from Islam. And we're in the end game, people. I mean, if you don't see that, I don't know what planet you're living on. We're coming down to end game. Maybe it's 100 years from now. Maybe it's 200. I don't know. Those things are in the knowledge of God. But our Prophet said, "Bu'ittu wasa'a kahataini." I was sent, and the end of time are like these two. And he put his wusta and his sababa together, just like that. Bu'ittu ana wasa'atu kahataini. I was sent, and the hour is like this. That was 1400 years ago. And in terms of how long humans have been here, it's not a long time, 1400 years. It's just a flash. So this is a time for people to have a lot of rahab, you know, just expansiveness in their hearts for people. Baza, baza. I wish I could quote it in Persian, but you know, we're in the city of Maulana Jalaluddin, and he has a beautiful qasida which is in the entrance to his maqam. Come again. Come. You know, whatever you've done, this isn't a caravan of despair. You know, sinner, if you've broken your vow 1,000 times, just come back. The door's open, and anybody that closes it is a shaitan. You know, and there's people closing that door on people that need to hear that message. You know, because this world can defile you. But no matter how defiled you are, Allah's door is open. No matter what's happened to you, Allah's door is open. I mean, we have testimony in the hadith to a mass murderer who was given Tawbah. He killed 100 people and he was given Tawbah. This door is open, and people, we need to open it up and let people come in with all their faults and all their flaws and all their dysfunctionalities and all their problems. Just open the door and let people come in.